How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Before I start this video, I would like to address my previous video on Nikola Jokic winning the MVP. I compared him to all the other previous 10 MVP winners, and as I upload, I did not realize how many negative comments were gonna be. That video, once again, was not to diminish Jokic's greatness, not to take away anything from what he accomplished. He clearly deserves MVP 100%. Once again, I did not mean to take away anything from his greatness. Of course, when I give out some of my basketball takes, you could agree or disagree. I appreciate the likes and also dislikes, the good and bad comments as well. Once again, my last video was not meant to be negative towards Jokic one bit, so in case you guys misunderstand it, that was my fault. So just to get that out of the way, today we're going to talk about the longest tenured player from each NBA team. Starting with the Oklahoma City Thunder, Darius Bazley, still 20, drafted 23rd by the Jazz, traded to OKC a few weeks after. Hamidou Diallo no longer with the franchise. Bazley, the starting power forward, almost a 14-8 guy, making the best of the situation. Born in the year 2000, the Detroit Pistons, Sekou Doumbouya, another 20-year-old, 15th pick. Blake Griffin used to be the longest tenured guy. He wasn't even in Detroit for that long, which goes to show how pathetic the franchise is. Team desperately needs to draft a high lottery pick and a future star to dig themselves out of a hole. New Orleans Pelicans, Zion Williamson, 20 years young, longest tenured guy, just under 2 years thus far on the team. You would think this was an expansion franchise, but after the Anthony Davis trade, New Orleans pretty much got rid of their whole team. Just 2 seasons ago, there was AD, Drew Holiday, and Julius Randle playing together. Jahlil Okafor, Elfrid Payton days, absolutely crazy to say the least. The Los Angeles Clippers, Patrick Beverley, the lone Clipper after the CP3 trade. Lou Will no longer of the roster. LAC went through a massive roster change last season to bring in Kawhi and PG in a win-now situation. Pat Bev used to be with Lou Will, Montrezl, Gallo, and Tobias Harris. Doc Rivers squad, the second longest tenured guy, Ivica Zubac. The franchise just gave up Mike Muscala for him. The Memphis Grizzlies, Dillon Brooks, felt like yesterday he was playing for Oregon. Drafted 45th overall by Houston in 2017, traded that same day to Memphis. His 4th season with the roster, when Gasol and Conley still with the team. So much has changed in the league the last 3 seasons. The grit and grind era seems like ages ago. Brooks, a very streaky scorer, averages around 17 as the starting 3. The Los Angeles Lakers, Kyle Kuzma, who's been talked about being in trade rumors more so than his performance, especially all of 2020. The 25-year-old part of the D'Angelo Russell trade had better numbers his first 2 seasons, averaged nearly 19 in year 2, inconsistent as a third option, no longer a third option. His role heavily regressed since the addition of AD. Atlanta Hawks, John Collins, the 2015 60-win team, everybody gone, being in trade talks a few times. The 23-year-old been in rumors whether he gets along with Trae Young. The league certainly changing very fast. The New York Knicks, a guy who many already forgotten, might not be in the league after 2021. Frank Ntilikina, the 8th overall pick in the 2017 draft, shown flashes his rookie season with defensive upside, but doesn't appear too confident, barely plays. Since the Knicks are good, nobody talks about the Frenchman and his lack of production. Will either get a minimum contract or be out the league this summer. The Sacramento Kings, the answer is Buddy Hield, a guy who's shown his frustration with the franchise. Part of that DeMarcus Cousins trade. It's been De'Aaron Fox's team since he was drafted 4 months after Hield landed in Sacramento. Awful coaching, awful front office, awful ownership. The franchise has been an absolute travesty for the last decade and a half. Hield not having an impressive season at all. His points per game and shooting percentages are down, playing more like Buddy Woons. Likely will break the record for the longest playoff drought at this point if they can't figure things out. The Brooklyn Nets, Joe Harris, who signed a multi-year deal with the squad summer 2016, the struggling days, played 5 games in the 2016 season before being traded and cut by Orlando, was 25 years old, first season in Brooklyn, made very little noise, continued to improve, rounding out his all-around game. Joey Bucket's very reliable and a fan favorite. Houston Rockets, Eric Gordon signed with the franchise summer of 16, will be making around $20 million each year till 2024, 32 and injury-prone drug throughout his career, was a terrific six-man for Harden and CP3's Rockets, not a difference maker as one of the main options, will continue being a role player. His name will continue being in trade discussions. Very hard for teams to trade for him, now getting older. The Orlando Magic, Terrence Ross, now that Vucevic is gone, completing his second year of a 4-year $54 million deal. A role guy off the bench, stuck in rebuild mode. The team without Fultz and Isaac due to injuries, a bad position for the vet. The Chicago Bulls, you guessed it or you didn't, Cristiano Felicio, a player many casuals still never heard of. His name seems to appear in the Bulls payroll every year, 1 year too long. The 28-year-old signed for 4 years, $32 million, summer of 17, robbing the franchise, in and out the league many times. 14 games this season, $8 million, averaging 1 point, 1 rebound. How's that for getting paid in the NBA? The Phoenix Suns, the young all-star who suffered the most before this season, Devin Booker, a draft steal at 13 overall 2015, has a case for being the best player in his class. Phoenix was an awful team his first 4 seasons, made progress towards the bubble, and now one of the top teams in the entire association. Doesn't need to average 30, playing alongside CP3, always a luxury. He's also only 24. Miles Turner, still with the Pacers, can't seem to get away from a borderline playoff caliber team, hasn't gotten past the first round any of his first 5 seasons, picked 2 spots ahead of Books, just a few minutes longer with the team than Booker with the Suns. Minnesota Timberwolves call Anthony Towns the first pick in the 2015 draft. Patience running Din, having a healthy D'Lo and a promising Edwards helps the franchise, but still not good enough. Cat can average 28 and 12 if he wanted, but won't make the headlines if his team continues to lose. A good scorer, but hasn't made a significant leap. 1 playoff series in 6 seasons, at least that's 1 more than Kevin Love when he was with the franchise. Dallas Mavericks, Dwight Powell since December of 14. The 29-year-old made a great opportunity. Used to be with the Celtics, also part of that Rondo trade to Dallas. That didn't work out well, but at least Powell worked out and made a home down there. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Love, a -45 the other night. Nobody had any idea what he's still doing in Cleveland. Can't stay healthy, barely produces on a bad team, miserable with the franchise. The longer he stays, the more frustration builds up. The only time he gets mentioned when he acts angry. More seasons and games already with the Cavs than Minnesota. That fat contract the franchise gave him, Love will be getting paid till 2023. Denver Nuggets, the future MVP Nikola Jokic, drafted 41st overall, will be making history, becoming the latest draft pick all time to win the award. His progression and transformation at the center position, very revolutionary. Only if a healthy and young Arvydas Sabonis was able to play in the NBA, we would have gotten a glimpse and preview of Jokic, having all the skills, unorthodox style, the tough fadeaway jumpers, plays at his own pace. The Nuggets drafted Joker out of luck. That I will say, their most blessed draft pick in franchise history. I'm not sure if there will be anybody picked in the 40s that will ever be as great as Jokic. Yes, I know some of you still salty about my last video. Nothing but respect for Jokic. I didn't mean to be disrespectful comparing him to other MVP candidates. At this rate, I predict he will have better seasons than 2021 in coming years and might become a top 5 player when the 2020s era said and done. Boston Celtics, Marcus Smart drafted 6 overall, 7 years later, been in couple trade talks, very minor though. A good solid all defense type guy. I doubt he'll ever become an all-star. Plays hard, represents the franchise well, a much improved outside shooter and passer as the years go by. The Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, another heavy MVP candidate, still has health concerns, misses too many games, an absolute monster, averages 29-11, draws fouls at will, punishes guys on the post. Doc Rivers really a big improvement from Brett Brown, one of the most entertaining personalities. What a decision the franchise made after dropping to the 3rd pick. If Philly had the 1st or 2nd pick, would have likely ended up with Wiggins or Parker. Glad that's not the case. The Sixers 2021 and counting viewed as serious contenders. Utah Jazz, Rudy Gobert, the 27th pick of the 2013 draft, one of the 3 All-Stars in one of the weakest classes in recent memories, proving his multiple-time All-Star worth, already appeared on 3 All-NBA teams, just impactful inside, the defensive presence amazing. Rudy will continue to produce now at the prime of his career. The question is, will he spend 10 plus seasons seasons in Salt Lake. The Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, a pick out of the blue, 15 overall, the mystery man of the draft. Nobody had any idea what Antetokounmpo was capable of. That's why there weren't much talks about him. The Greek Freak just wasn't picked by the 14 teams before, and every one of those franchises still paying for it. Milwaukee won just 15 games his rookie season. Appearing to be with the franchise long term would be an incredible story if Giannis is able to deliver a championship for Milwaukee. The Charlotte Hornets, drafted way before Giannis, with the 4th pick kind of forgotten. Cody Zeller, the 28-year-old, averages 9 and 7, more of a backup center, the definition of a role player, already on his way finishing a 4-year $56 million deal, will become a free agent, just a rotation guy. Toronto Raptors, Kyle Lowry, traded to the franchise July 2012. Many say now he's the greatest player in Raptors franchise history. When you look at longevity and accomplishments and what he's meant to the city, transformed himself into one of the best at his position, just turned 35, 6-time All-Star, spent 3.5 seasons with Houston, 2.5 with Memphis, used to be on the same team as Mike Conley, also considered the best player in his draft class, a champion and future Hall of Famer, considered an experimental guy, in fact didn't even become an All-Star till year 3 with the Raptors. On to the top 5, Damian Lillard, the Portland Trail Blazers. No matter what happens, Lillard will absolutely have his jersey number retired by the franchise when it's all said and done. A guaranteed Hall of Famer already, 30 years old, will finish his 9th season in Rip City, averages over 24.5 points for his career, pretty healthy throughout. Used to be a guy that was nubbed from making the All-Star games, but now he's made 4 straight, a fantastic teammate and leader. I built a team around him over Kyrie, that's just my opinion. A lot of you can agree with that. Washington Wizards, Bradley Beal, the same draft class, still in Washington, absolutely balling, on his way to averaging over 30 plus points for the 2nd straight season, 27 years old at the prime of his career, making that bread, having a player option for 2023, the most respected player the franchise has had in a while. The high scoring took off after John Wall's injuries. Beal didn't even make his first All-Star appearance until his 6th season. The improvements unreal, still seeking for his first ever All-NBA team appearance. Number 3, Patty Mills of the San Antonio Spurs, picked 55th overall out of St. Mary, still a productive role player off the bench, was drafted by Portland, picked up by San Antonio after in and out of the G League March of 2012, one of the rare remaining loyal beloved Spur, helped the franchise a lot with his shooting, a 20 plus minute a game guy, will be a free agent this coming summer. Will his tenure in San Antonio finally come to an end? Number 2, Stephen Curry, Golden State Warriors, one of the most beloved player all time from a loyal fan base perspective. What Tim Duncan meant to San Antonio, Kobe to the Lakers, and MJ to the Bulls, Curry has had that same type of impact with Golden State. The fact that many in the media love to instigate saying, oh, Steph might leave Golden State to join the Lakers, just cut that nonsense out. I don't ever see Curry playing for another team besides Charlotte when he's at the very tail end of his career. It would be an absolute travesty to envision Curry in another NBA team's uniform, the most influential player of this generation. It would only be right if Steph finishes his entire career with Dub Nation, a player who will be missed heavily when he retires, so enjoy his greatness while we can. Number 1, he's still in the NBA? How? Udonis Haslem. My oh my oh my. The question is, has he already played his final game? 81 regular season games since the 2015-16 season, just to hold up a roster spot time after time. Another vet minimum year. Talent-wise, there's many guys outside the league better than him now. Will Haslem even average double digits if he play in the G League? I highly doubt it at this point, but just giving young guys advice in street clothes, chilling on the bench, making over $2 million, the easiest money in the world for a professional athlete. Haslem made his debut October 28th of 03, the day before LeBron made his, let alone being undrafted in 02, 41 years old and still active. For a guy who hasn't played meaningful minutes since 2015, Haslem can literally retire whenever he wants, can keep a roster spot till he's 45. Haslem's career, simply a perfect role player's NBA dream. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do you guys think superstars like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard will retire with the franchise that drafted them? When will Udonis Haslem retire? Let me know in the comments again. Once again, thank you so much for watching and supporting. I talk NBA comparisons, amazing storylines, NBA history, and anything basketball that will interest you. Plus, later during this month, I'll give a potential Jokic giveaway, so be on the lookout for that. Once again, thanks so much for watching. I love all of you. See you next time.